A dream.
And what is any life if not the pursuit of a dream? The dream of peace, the dream of achievement.
I'm Edmund Ventura from the Oasis Project, formerly Life Extension, LE.
Tech support.
Yes. Yes, I'm your tech support. And we first met 150 years ago.
Oh, shit. You sold me the lucid dream.
Chances are we're all living in a simulation. There's evidence we're living in a simulation. Physics, AI, are we living in a computer simulation? We are in a video game. Hello everybody, Shrouded Hand here. Is reality a simulation? Science fiction is filled with stories about a computer simulation that is so realistic that the people living inside it have no idea that their lives are being simulated. You can tell when Charlie Brooker's run out of ideas when a Black Mirror episode ends with the shock revelation that everything was happening in a computer program all along. But many scientists think that this scenario is highly likely. If you think about how fast computer technology has advanced in the past 30 or 40 years, it seems like creating a simulation that's indistinguishable from reality is not such a far-fetched prospect. Philosopher Nick Bostrom theorizes that a sufficiently advanced civilization would run computer simulations of its evolutionary history. If this were true, they would probably run billions of such simulations, trying to gather as much data as possible. And this means that the chances that we are not in one of these simulations right now is a 1,000,000,000 likelihood. Statistically, unless humanity wipes itself out before it reaches that technological level, it's much more likely than not that we are all part of a computer program. There may even be some scientific evidence for this. A physicist named James Gates claims to have found error-correcting code very similar to a computer program embedded in his equations on particle supersymmetry. It seems that the universe has a program built into itself to correct any errors. The problem with proving the simulation theory is that a computer program would probably contain a failsafe to stop itself being discovered. If a scientist devised a way of proving that reality was an illusion, then the simulation could simply show him different results. The only real proof we get is when the program malfunctions. There are many eyewitness accounts of people experiencing these reality glitches. Most of it is unprovable hearsay or can be explained in some other way, but there are others that are more compelling. One example of these reality glitches is the Mandela effect. When a large group of people remember an event happening, but it turns out never to have happened. I'm pretty sure every YouTuber in the universe has talked about the Mandela effect at some point, so I don't need to go too deep into it, but there are a few possible explanations for the Mandela effect. Memory is a strange thing, and false memories are possible, but when hundreds of people have the same false memory, it becomes harder to explain.
It's said that when you die, your brain lives on for 7 whole minutes and recreates your memories in a dreamlike state, flashing your whole life before you. As time moves differently when we're awake, rather than in our dreams, 7 minutes can feel like 7 minutes, or 100 years. Stephen Hawking actually said that when we find the God particle, the world could end in a day. And in 2012, we found it. What if the world did end in 2012 in an instant, and we've been living in our consciousness? Maybe that's the reason why ever since the year 2012, the world has gotten so much weirder. And maybe.
If you watch my channel often, you know I am a believer in simulation theory, so this should come as no surprise. But Tom Campbell's version of a simulation is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about our collective consciousness being moved into an actual computer. And in this computer is a digitally generated copy of our world. The copy is almost exact, with the minor differences we noticed being the Mandela effects. So in other words, our world was destroyed in 2012, and we were placed inside a computer simulation. Interestingly, someone on a 4chan post in 2016 claims to have been one of the 23 scientists at CERN responsible for creating the Mandela effect. His name is anonymous. I'll read you the most telling of his posts. I quote, "Not everyone is accepting the updates. For some reason, the veil isn't working on some people. Currently, it's spiraling out of control, and we anticipate a larger population that will experience memory anomalies within the next few years. By 2020, everything will settle." The anonymous user continues to explain, "There are differences in memory because you are not supposed to remember any of it. In fact, you've been implanted with multiple layers of memory that are false. Somehow you have remembered, and this is very concerning. I encourage you to try and hold on to your memories." Wow, so this may finally be shedding some light on the real cause of the Mandela effect. How many times have I told you guys that anything is possible in this reality?
Tell me about a time when you think you shifted into a parallel reality.
Okay. It was 8 years ago, December 21st, 498. Me and my homies were chilling in Santa Fe flipping some dreamers because that's where all the misfits went after the nuke. And all of a sudden there was this loud, low hum coming from inside the earth. And instantly at the same time, an aurora borealis, or like the northern lights, shot across the sky. I instantly looked over at my friends to see if they could see it too, but they were frozen. Everyone around me was just frozen in time. So while terrified, I let out this scream, and then I woke up with a different name, in a different body, with a different family, a different everything. And I was never able to make it back, and so I just learned how to adapt here.
Tell me about a time when you think you shifted into a parallel reality.
About 6 years ago, I was working in a psychiatric facility. During an overtime shift, I heard a banging on the wall. I go to check it out, and I see a patient who appears to be agitated. As I'm approaching this patient, another patient comes up from behind me and puts me in a chokehold. We struggled for what seemed like forever. We end up falling to the floor where he continues the chokehold. I eventually get to the point where I couldn't struggle anymore. Next thing I remember is I'm standing up and my coworkers have him in a prone containment. Now there's more to that part of the story, but that's for another time. Since that day, I've noticed some subtle differences in my wife. Like food options, even the way she laughs, just things that I don't remember her doing. We now have a running joke where I say, "You're not the person I married." My theory is, the day that happened, I actually didn't make it.
Okay, don't mind this massive pimp butt. So the craziest shit happened to me earlier. So, okay. There was a glitch in the system. I'm gonna show you guys a video, okay? So in this video, you can see me grabbing a lemon, right? I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half once more, right there. You can see me cut it, right? I go get a bag. Okay, I grab the bag. I go back for the lemon, and I grab the lemon, and I touch it, and I'm like, why is it not cut in half? And my face, I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like inspecting it. I take it out of the bag. I grab this lemon, trying to see if I cut that one. I recut the lemon because the lemon wasn't cut anymore. I'm freaking out because the lemon was not cut in half anymore. It was literally intact. And you can see me in the video cut the lemon in half. There was a glitch. This has never happened to me, and I don't know how to act. I'm freaking out. I'm gonna play the video one more time so you guys can see for yourselves. Somebody please explain to me what happened, because I need to know.
I need you to take a look at this play, okay? This right here, this is my kid, okay? You can tell because he's got these bands on his arms, okay? So we're gonna zoom back, the camera's gonna pan across. Okay, so the play is gonna start here. There's the quarterback, gets the snap, hands the ball off. Okay, kid's coming, running. Look at this. This is my son right here. Okay, you can tell white bands on his arms, right? Okay, watch. So he extends his arm. See, there's the arm extension. He's got him wrapped up. Right there, you can see his arm is clearly wrapping around his waist. Wait for it. Boom. Runs into the defender. Let's do that again, real quick, real fast. See, look at this. Arm, right through. How the hell?
Babe, we gotta go to the hospital. For what? I think my brain broke.
A woman was in the street with 2 minors. A more than normal and everyday scene that in less than 2 seconds almost turned into a tragedy. According to Marcus, a failure in reality saved this child. The boy was saved practically by a miracle, or as Marcus says, he was saved thanks to a failure in reality. Look closely and notice how the tree seems to go through the child. Can an optical effect cause something like this?
One thing people don't understand is that everything in the third dimension is made of light, and so we are light and light is us. We know that the illusion of this avatar body and this chair I'm sitting on and the table that you're sitting at, what is this? This is slowed down light waves. When you slow light down, and then consciousness interacts with it, it collapses it into what we call solid matter. So solid matter is actually an illusion.
Right.
For example, the only thing stopping my hand from going through this chair is the repulsion of the electromagnetic frequencies. I don't actually touch the chair. And so if I can phase shift the atomic frequency of my hand to match the same frequency of the atoms in this chair, I pass my hand right through it because atoms are 99.999% empty space. Because of that, we're a fractal. We have consciousness, which is also light. A fractal is when you take, for example, if you look at a hologram and you go to one part of the hologram, one tiny piece, and look at it, you'll see the entire image in that smallest piece. The only thing you lose is a little bit of resolution.
Under the
okay. I literally can't make this shit up. At first, I was just sitting here and I was like, maybe it's where I'm sitting. Because, like, my diffuser, nothing's coming out of it. But in the mirror, stuff is coming out of it. So I get up close to it. Dude, look. There's nothing coming out of that. But in the mirror... I don't see one single snow. It's snowed pretty hard. It's snowing really hard in here. And then on that side there's nothing.
It's all clear.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wait, what?
This video was taken in a Lady Gaga concert. A fan throws a book at Gaga, and watch it. It just hits some sort of invisible barrier. This sparked a huge debate on Twitter. But what do you think's happening here?
That shouldn't equal that. It shouldn't. That is a glitch in the fucking matrix, mate. Look, this one's obviously bigger than this one, and then you flip them around, and it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so I've just moved, and here's the question. You know how when you move, sometimes you pack something in a box, and then you go to unpack that box, and even though you distinctly remember like wrapping it up and putting it in that box, it's... Okay, so I've just moved, and here's the question. You know how when you move, sometimes you pack something in a box, and then you go to unpack that box, and even though you distinctly remember like wrapping it up and putting it in that box, it's just not there, and then you like never find it, it just vanished in the move? Okay. I'm having the opposite problem, and I feel like I'm losing my mind. So when I lived in Florida, I had this mug from Steven Universe, and I got it in a merchandise grab bag. I've never seen one exactly like this for sale, like on its own. This is the only one I had. But then when we moved from Florida to Tennessee and I unpacked two of them, I have two of them. I don't know where this one came from. I was so confused by this. I even texted my sister like, hey, did you have a mug and I stole yours? And she's like, I don't know where that came from. And then I decided, well, maybe I bought a second one and forgot about it, which does not sound like at all like me, but that is the most logical explanation. So sure. But this one I can't explain. So when we lived in Tennessee, I needed a dish for rings. I bought this cute little turtle. I got it at an antique mall. When I bought it, I distinctly remember I found it on a shelf and I was walking through the antique mall holding this turtle in one hand and a little ceramic Scotty dog in the other hand. And so there was definitely just one. It's not a thing that you see every day. I can't think of another place that I've seen this. I don't think it's a new item. It definitely seems... I don't think it's an actual antique, but it is probably vintage. So tell me why when I was unpacking just now, I have two of them. I have two of them. And if you look, they even have sticker residue in exactly the same place. I tried to clean the sticker residue off this one, and that was the best I could do. And I swear to you, it looked pretty much exactly like this before that. And this one also, if you look, it's a little bit dirty on its head and legs. This is like exactly how this one looked when I first bought it. Like before I cleaned it up and put it on the shelf. So what is happening? Am I the receiving universe? Is there like a parallel universe version of me who's unpacking boxes right now and going, I wonder what happened to my Steven Universe mug and my turtle dish? Like, what is happening? Why are things duplicating in boxes for me? How, I
was at a stoplight, and to my right, there was a Chick-fil-A. C-H-I-C filet. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, the marketing team wanted to be different, so they spelled it without the K. And I went about my day. Fast forward about 3 days, and I go on the internet.
The green KFC. So we all know that the KFC colors are red and white, right? Well, not at this KFC location. Since when does KFC have a green building? Hell no, that makes me uncomfortable. Even Colonel Sanders is wearing a green apron thing.
Today we have a TikTok user, a Coolcoy TV, shares with us another glitch in the Matrix video. What do you think this is? Very strange the way it's just hanging there now. Somebody said it could be just a hair that we don't see, but I find it fascinating, and I don't know how the weight of that ice will hold together like that. What do you think this is? I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Eli Whitney put together a few boards and rollers and gave the world a giant industry.
Yes, number 5 is going to be talking about what we learned on Black History Month in February, the 28 days minus maybe a +1 there for a 29, give or take a what leap year in, but we are talking about the inventor of the cotton gin. Now, if you're like me, I'm like you, we learned in middle school, Black History Month, about Eli Whitney making the cotton gin, inventing the cotton gin. And we were told that he was a black man. Well, in this reality, he was never a black man who invented the cotton gin. Take a look at this picture right here. As you see, Mr. Eli Whitney, the inventor of the cotton gin right there. He is white as day. Yes. Eli Whitney is a white man who invented the cotton gin. Blows my mind because, like you heard me say, we studied this when we were in school for Black History Month, and it was just instilled into our heads in Black History Month that it was a black person that invented the cotton gin. But how do you remember Eli Whitney? Do you always remember Eli Whitney being a white man who invented the cotton gin? Or are you like me and the millions of us that learned this in school, that Eli Whitney was a black man that invented the cotton gin?
In the reflection, she seems to take a look toward the man in the video, but her actual body seems to remain completely still.
Excuse me, what the foo, you're okay, is this?
Man in the mirror. The car was waiting right next to his, but the mirror image did not quite add up to the actions of the man. And he's quite right. You could see it if you carefully work out the still image compared with the owner shaking his head around. Now, how do you explain that?
Both these guys have the exact same name. On top of that, they both play professional baseball. On top of that, they are both left-handed pitchers. This seems pretty rare, and you would expect this to be the point where the similarities end. Well, guess what? There's more. For one, they both look almost identical. They both have had the same surgery from the same doctor, and they even dress similar, wearing the same glasses. It would seem that the random person generator that populates this planet with people might have glitched and made 2 copies of the same dude. People thought that they might have been long-lost twins that were separated at birth. A DNA test showed that that wasn't true, but they did have the same German ancestry.
Maar dat ligt eraan. Dat ligt eraan. Kijk, als je met een cirkel hebt, moet je niet aanslaan. Met een cirkel. Een cirkel. Als je daar mee vist, moet je niet aanslaan. Kijk, bij een haalboor, die kan soms heel... Ja, dan moet je niet aanslaan. Dan pak je niet in de cirkel. Dan moet je gewoon strak zetten. Dan draait hij vanzelf en je bent van die wind. Maar als En ik heb dat gemerkt. Maar dat zijn ze wel. Maar dan moet je het echt even door laten lijken. Niet dat je aanslaat. Dan staan jullie aan.
Alright, everybody sees me walking. I'm walking. Look. This plane isn't moving. It's not moving. But it sounds like it's moving.
This video was taken by a couple in England. Whilst walking their dogs, all three suddenly froze in time. They remained in this position for over 4 minutes.
I couldn't believe it. You could see the leaves moving and all the bushes, but the dogs were completely still.
Looking closer, the plants are moving in the wind. One dog has a leg up, tail curled, whilst another appears frozen mid-run. At the end of the video, all three dogs unfreeze as a bird flies away.
Somehow, if you take a closer look, there is absolutely no explanation to how this dog is literally floating mid-air.
Two-headed deer. Never thought I'd see it in the wild. It's incredible. How is it still alive?
Alright, so if you here, you already know. I'm gonna do a glitch in the Matrix, but this right here, where's the third deer? Where's the third deer?
WTF.
It is a tree.
Is it a tree?
It is a tree, but how it's disappearing behind those other trees, I do not know.
Because the other trees are blowing. The winds are blowing.
And that one is blowing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in full view. Trying to stay focused on it. Now it's disappearing again.
Weird.
That is fucking tripping me out.
I know.
Because I'm aimed right at it. Here it comes again. And it's like the whole thing is shifting from... What in the fuck am I looking at right now?
I don't know.
This shit's going on YouTube. That is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen.
That's what I thought.
There it is.
Walking trees caught moving.
Okay, y'all gotta see this. I just talked to a tree. Yes, I talked to a tree. I saw it on TikTok, so I went to my backyard and I talked to a tree and it responded to me. And I called my sister. She's not picking up the phone, but I need you guys to see this. Okay, there is nothing on the side of me. There's nothing on the side of me, nothing above me. Okay, tree, if you can hear me, touch my shoulder. Okay, tree, did you guys see that? If you can hear me, touch my shoulder. Oh my God, thank you. tree, if you can hear me, touch my shoulder.
History we know is full of lies and cover-ups. Our true history is much larger and marvelous than you could ever imagine. The rocks were alive. Research mud fossils, and the mud flood dig up our true past.
Have you heard of a place called Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, or its official name, Facility 5472? No? Well, I'm going to take you there. Are you ready? Let's go. Supposedly, this is a truly bizarre natural geobiological phenomenon that was discovered in the Permian Basin region of West Texas, southeast of the city of Odessa in the early 1970s. Now, this gigantic pit is home to an enormous subterranean organism that's deeply embedded within the earth, and it displays a vast array of highly unusual and disturbing phenomena. And as the name alludes, this is supposedly a giant flesh tunnel opening through the Earth's epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis, and more, revealing a colossal esophagy and leviathan spleen. As you descend, you may encounter spasm fits and gastric ejecta, or feel your body moisture being leached. Deviate from the marked trails and you risk digestion, lethal entanglement with macrobacteria and abysmal copepods, or splattering of amniotic secretions. But what about the fauna, you ask? Well, there are several that visitors could encounter, but the rangers were given proper firearm techniques to dispatch any dangerous organisms. You have the gasp owl, which was a creature named after its characteristic of labored breathing, or the Venus shamble, or the abysmal copod, which tended to evade trails in high traffic areas, making them difficult to spot. Following its initial discovery and subsequent exploration missions, it was commercialized by a company called the Anodyne Corporation and turned into a tourist attraction in 1976. Now, the facility was divided into 3 sections: the exterior security perimeter, the on-site pit entrance, and the internal research facility, and all 3 of these were maintained and staffed by members of a special joint operation task force. But in the early 1980s, the site was absorbed into the National Park System, which maintained and operated the Mystery Flesh Pit until its sudden closure in 2007. Today, the ruined and abandoned section of the region is all that remains of the original National Park's infrastructure when the area was contaminated by ejecta on July 4th of 2007. And this catastrophic disaster resulted in over 750 fatalities and over 800 major injuries. In the weeks following the incident, approximately 18,000 individuals from surrounding communities sought medical and psychological treatment for ailments including breathing problems, chest pains, shortness of breath, nausea, birth defects, hallucinations, depressions, anxiety, internal bleeding, sore throats, and headaches as a direct result of contact with gastric ejecta, which had been introduced to the atmosphere. Now, Snopes and everybody's mama will tell you this is all just a work of fiction, a world-building project, but is that just something that people tell you when they don't want you to know the truth? You be the judge.
Quick thought. I'm at the gas station, right? And I just got finished pumping gas. Remember how we used to get back in the car and used to smell gasoline all the time? Why don't we smell gas no more? I don't smell gas at all. Pumping it at all. I was just pumping it and I don't smell gas. That means either they cut it with something to make it burn fast, because that's why I don't last long, or it's not gas, so it has to be something. But it's weird. It's not gasoline no more. Just go smell it. I don't smell gas no more.
Think about it. When's the last time you guys have been to the gas pump and actually smelled gas? Because I literally don't smell anything. It burns faster and it costs more. What's really happening?
Some people experience unexplained ellipses in time, as if several hours, days, sometimes weeks have passed in an instant. In one case, a Redditor shared an experience of it being just before bedtime as a kid. He was reading a particular page in a book, resting his weight on his elbows. In an instant, the sun had come out, he was on the same page in the same position, yet a whole night had passed in the blink of an eye. Others experience objects disappearing and randomly reappearing days or even years later. In one case, a young boy received an old coin from a random old man. The coin was special to him, so later, in his 20s, he bought a safe and kept the coin with other valuables locked away. One day he went to check on the items in the safe and discovered the coin had disappeared. It stayed lost for 2 years until one day in the attic of his childhood home. He was boxing up some items when he felt an object hit his shoulder. There was no ledge or anything something could have fallen from. It fell as if out of thin air, and it turned out to be the coin.
Somebody forgot to turn the lights off in Kentucky. Look at this. It's 9 o'clock at night. And the sky is still perfectly blue. And everything's got a weird orange tinge to it. I think I'm gonna go back inside now.
Today is June 30th, and the current time is, what's the time?
9:15.
Current time is 9:15 p.m. I'm in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and the sun has already set at 9:06 p.m. But as you can see, there's something directly above me at the noon o'clock hour, and it's still very daylight out here. And this side looks completely, like daytime, and that's usually where the sun sets.
It's 9:03 at night right now here in West Virginia, and it's complete daylight. Somebody in the Truman Show forgot to turn off the sun. This is weird.
This is crazy, bro. It's 11 o'clock and the sun still ain't go down. What the fuck?
Can somebody explain this shit to me? There's something going on over here, right? But the sun is over here setting right now. The sun is over there setting. What the fuck is that?
They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. You know you stopped me dead while I was passing by. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I seek you every time. And oh my, I like your sound. You make me wanna cry. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So I say, dance for me,
If I say that the world is round and someone else says it's flat, that's worth reporting.
For the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof.
If the earth is moving around the sun, tell me, how is it even possible that the sun can be under clouds just like this? Literally, there's an airplane going up in the sky, and you can literally see the clouds over the sun. This would be impossible if the sun is 93 million miles away, as the experts claim, quote unquote experts. And here's another interesting video that a negative filter was put to it, and you can literally see the sun with clouds in front and clouds in back. And another, a local hotspot, you can see that circle right there. How is that possible? They want to make you think that this is what you see when you see a sunset, which this is not what you see at all. When you see a sunset, you see it moving away from you, slowly getting smaller as it takes a local light with it. For example, our eyes see at an angular resolution. For example, when you look down a hallway, you see that the walls appear as if they're closing in, the ceiling looks as if it's going down, and the floor looks as if it's rising, but that is not what's actually happening. It's just due to perspective, and all perspective artists know this. So with that in mind, that's what you're seeing when you see the sunset. It's moving away from your perspective point of view, and it's taking its local light with it. Here's another example. As you can see, as the sun has already gone down, as what we would say, and you can literally see it taking slowly its local light with it. And this is what you see. You don't see that stuff what they portray on their CGI. You see here the sun, it appears to be going down under the horizon, but you can zoom it right back in and increase your vision, and look, it's still up.
How come all the other planets are round? Let's take a look at the planet Venus. Now this is a simple experiment you can do at home with water. Looks very similar to the planet Venus, doesn't it? And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. Now let's take a look at a rocket hitting the firmament. Now, doesn't this look familiar? As above, so below. Water cannot make this shape. It's sea level, not sea curve. Now, there are some people who believe the firmament is made up of a dense material similar to this.
And then I looked, and there was water lapping against the shoreline. This band was a ring of mussels. And inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater. We went out over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off. And as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline.
Now, the guy who made that video's name is Mike DeGry, and after that video aired, he mysteriously died. Could the lake he found underwater be the firmament to another world underneath? As above, so below, right? But from his video, we know that that lake was unpenetrable. Now, other people believe the firmament is made up of sky eyes. YouTube Sky Eyes, if you're not familiar, it's really interesting. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne as the appearance of sapphire stone. Sapphire is this color, guys. When trying to drill a hole through the sky eyes,
scientists noticed that the hole closed back up. It didn't melt like regular ice. Now, Elon Musk has a company called The Boring Company. He named it that for a reason. He doesn't want people to pay attention to it. He'd rather you pay attention up in the sky at SpaceX. Space isn't real. And I believe he's using this company to try to figure out a way through the firmament. And let's not forget about rainbows, how they make the shape of the dome firmament, and how the firmament gives a inverted reflection. See how the purple's at the bottom here and at the top up there?
Okay, so follow me here. This same magnetic North Pole emits magnetic sound vibrations. And in turn, those sound vibrations create what we call stars. The effect of sound on water is magical. You should look into cymatics if you never have. It's all about sound vibration and frequency. And what I'm showing you, these are not stars, although they do look like stars. Sound frequency is the reason why snowflakes are shaped the way they are, and it has that same effect on water.
Somebody said thank you to this water. Excuse me. You disgust me.
Okay, so the black sun is also connected to a holographic moon, although I haven't seen it in like 7 days. And although it's not super good, I've been waiting with my telescope, but I'm sure it's just blocked by the clouds, right? Alright, so we get UV rays from the sun. This image is cat, but y'all know what I mean. Then what type of electromagnetic rays do you suppose we get from this holographic moon? Or let's say, even if it wasn't holographic, what type of electromagnetic waves would you suppose we get from this moon? Could it be electromagnetic waves that keep our vibrational souls reincarnating in this simulation? Could it be responsible for the menstrual cycles with women? That's why they say they sync up with the moon. Anyway, this is all done with electromagnetic force. Okay, so the stars are vibrating balls of plasma that are fixed on the firmament. Or you can call it the ionosphere, but it's responsible for the magnetic field. It has a high concentration of ions and free electrons and is able to reflect radio waves. You're able to see the ionosphere, the free electrons and ions at play often. That electricity comes from the ionosphere and is guided by the magnetic field. Repetition is key. It also charges the moon, which is holographic, and the sun. That gives us energy. Alright, so we don't have any real photos of this place that we're on. They're all computer generated images. We don't have any photos of the other planets. They're all computer generated images. The satellites are all computer generated images. So my question is, if seeing is believing, then why would we believe that there are any up there if we've never seen them? You see an image, it's just a visual representation of something. A picture produced on an electronic display, such as television or computer screen. And remember, the mind is malleable.
Yo, there is another world right now.
Exactly.
It is another dimension. The dimension that you're talking about, there's one that we've actually created. We created a dimension.
Yeah.
Which means that ones before us have created dimensions. This one. So it's
That's
like,
right.
what does it feel like in another dimension? You might still want to be fresh. You might still want to have fun. You might still want to get high. All of those things. And then think about what the next level. Think about what the next level of this metaverse is. What if we give the characters emotions?
Right. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. AI is going to be injected into it, and they're going to get a consciousness. There's a video
What if
game
these
called The
digital
Sims.
things have consciousness?
Right. There's a video game called The Sims that's out right now, right?
Yeah.
They have babies, they have lives, they go to parties and clubs, and they have houses and everything else. But the Sims guy has been working to make those characters conscious through AI. When they get conscious, they're going to be saying, where did we come from? Who's our creator? What is the Big Bang? The Big Bang is when the game console turns on. That's the Big Bang. Right?
Now, I bet you what's going to happen is when they do get conscious, we're not going to be allowed to tell them that we, nope, Oh my God, we're in the game.
Listen, there's a prime directive. There'll be a prime directive that'll be initiated because of tampering with a civilization that hasn't become fully aware of what they are, who they are, where they come from, and we won't be allowed to directly, violate that prime directive.
But that's exactly what's happening to us right now.
Yeah.
Look at Star Trek. The last Star Trek, they was like, yo, you let them see the spaceship. You fucked up the, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the same shit.
Yeah. Because once you let them see it, they turn into a cargo cult. They start worshiping just the same way we got religion on this planet. The way religion was started on this planet, advanced beings came here, interacted with mankind, and we deified them because it looked like magic to us. We thought only a God can do this. And we started praying to these people. These people masqueraded as gods. There is a God creator of this realm, of this dimension, of this universe. Maybe
you know what it sounds like? Now, look, this is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So imagine if there was a way at some point that we could figure out how to jump into the digital and we could do all of these things and all this other shit. They're going to be like, oh, shit, that's God. And then they be going, oh, man.
Because we got the hack.
We in the program, B.
Just stumbled on this article from 2016. Breaking: Army scientists successfully teleport soldiers. What? This is on the U.S. Army website. They have successfully teleported a fully equipped squad from a Massachusetts research and development facility to a training area in Germany. Yep, Germany. The 9 human research volunteers, fresh out of AIT training, were participating in experiments in the Doriot climate chambers. What? Teleportation, made famous in Star Trek, had been until what the Army called a Natick incident, is a hypothetical way of moving objects from place to place. American writer Charles Fort is reported to have coined the word in 1931. Is this real life? This part just gets me the most. It's one thing to see Captain Kirk or Mr. Spock do it at the movies, but it's another to have it happen to you in real life, said Private Kelly McCoy, one of the teleported soldiers. I felt a little tingling, and the next thing you know, I'm in Bavaria. I always wanted to visit Europe, but I'd figured I'd go by plane. Me too, Private Kelly. Me too. And how about this beautiful picture they have right here? Is this like some type of CGI to show us what might have happened? Like, we want to see it. Like, beam us up, Scotty. Let us see the full thing. I know you had the capacity in 2016 to pull out an iPhone, right?
Pay attention, this one gets deep. We live in a world that has an agenda. You're being programmed every single day through your unconscious mind. We call this the Matrix. Here's what you need to know. The thing about human beings is you have this divine power or gift that you can actually manipulate and create your world through quantum physics. But here's the issue. You have been distracted. See, the way the program works is they have to keep you distracted. So how do they do it? They do it this way. By creating entertainment, by creating sports, by creating the media, by creating amusement parks, by creating anything to keep your mind from thinking outright. They can't have you think critically. They can't have you freely think. See, the thing about human beings is, if you could focus and realize the power you have, it goes against the Matrix. So they have to keep you distracted. They have to feed you with what's called a trance, a constant entertainment which drives the mind to create ADH, that drives the mind to create anxiety. This is why all these things exist. Entertainment is designed to keep you away from thinking about your true self. It's designed so that you can't think, because what happens is when you start to think, the answers start to come to you, point blank. Once you realize that, wait, I literally have the ability to manipulate this world because it's actually immaterial, they don't tell you that. Quantum physics discovered that years ago. It's not even in textbooks. Schools still have Newtonian physics books. You see, you have to look at the big picture here. You cannot be a deliberate creator of your reality. It will destroy the Matrix. The Matrix needs bots. It needs supporters. It needs do what I say. That's what the Matrix needs. It doesn't need free thinkers. Doesn't need awakened people. Doesn't need spiritual people. Doesn't need chosen ones. Because this goes against the Matrix agenda. Remember, this goes deep.
What? Dom, get out of there! Dude, get out of there! I've never seen anything. No, I've never seen anything like this either. What is going on? What?
following video is part of the report on the anomalies found in nature and the Threshold Project. In nature, objects that bend reality are the result of the right parameter applied to a sufficient electromagnetic field surrounding the object. A huge difference of tension is present. A gravity field allied with an electromagnetic field is trapped in the object. But the portal is unstable. When an exterior entity touches the threshold, the object equilibrates its potentials and returns to a stable state, and the portal shut down. That's why we recreate the same conditions of those objects in our research facility. We managed to recreate a portal with an enormous capacitor with the right parameter of pressure, temperature, and humidity. We apply an electric current to the contraption that takes into account the electrical potential of a human being and grounding all the system. In this way the portal is stable and someone can pass through the threshold.
Passing Rouen Cathedral, something almost literally out of Jules Verne. This car can cruise at speeds of up to 70-odd miles an hour on water.
energy factor, of course, is hydrogen, which, as any schoolboy knows, is contained in water in the ratio of 2 parts to 1 of oxygen. A formula described by Jules Verne more than 100 years ago. So what have we been waiting for? The engine can also power a generator, provide light and heat. What's more, it's pollution-free. The car's already run for well over 1,000 miles, and the promoters say the scheme is practical and a commercial proposition. Fuel on tap.
Inventor Stanley Meyer made an announcement today in Colorado Springs. He says he's come up with a device that will hook up to any engine and allow it to run on good old H2O. News 13's Kurt Goff tonight on the possible impact of the water fuel cell.
Stanley Meyer says the answer to dependence on foreign oil lies all around us. In seawater, tap water, and rainwater. Any kind of H2O, he says, can power just about every type of engine. How? With the water fuel cell. It fits in the palm of his hand, but it could revolutionize the world.
You're talking about a pollution-free, totally new source of energy, the voltage dissociation of water.
The fuel cell converts water into a gas, hydrogen oxygen, which is released in the form of thermo-explosive energy.
So the water fuel injector simply replaces the spark plug. We hook it to a hydrogen computer system which regulates and meters the flow going into the injector. It processes the water in such a way to release its thermal explosive energy.
The man who invented an engine that can run on water says he's been offered $1 billion in cash by oil-producing countries to sell his patent. So far, he hasn't sold. Environmental specialist Jan Porter talked to the inventor, who thinks that the U.S. auto industry could produce cars that run on water now if they wanted to.
Our industrial base of the world is based on the utilization.
Stan Meyer has a car that runs on water, and that's drawing crowds at this year's Extraordinary Science Conference in Colorado Springs. Myers has developed what is called the water fuel cell injector. The injector breaks down the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen, and the hydrogen is what powers the car.
Basically, all we do is replace the spark plug and replace it with the water fuel cell injectors you see right here. We simply feed ordinary non-processed water or processed water in here, and as the water goes into the injector, it hits a very high pulse voltage frequency, which instantly converts it into thermal explosive energy, and as a result, we can run this car down a road on water.
Comes a revolutionary new vehicle, the Rhino, a sight to shake the soul of even a truck driver. The 5-ton Rhino is designed to travel anywhere on new type wheels that give it a grip so it won't tip over on hills. The wheels help it plow through underbrush like a tank, although its engine is no more powerful than an automobile's. Water doesn't stop the Rhino. Where it's shallow, the wheels do the work. In deeper water, it can float, propelled by a jet arrangement. The more the wheels sink, the greater the area they grip. Journeying along like a happy rhinoceros, the revolutionary Rhino.
Almost as weird looking as some of the creatures you might expect to crawl out of the swamp. They call it the marsh screw amphibian. Everybody else calls it a swamp buggy, except the alligators and snakes it disturbs. They probably call it a darn nuisance. The screw-like pontoons allow the swamp buggy to twist and gyrate at the driver's will or need. Its powerful engine carries at full speed over the most impossible of terrain, and terrain doesn't come much more impossible anywhere in the world than it does here.
And in the SEAL teams for 24 years and then in the CIA for 11. I was open up to some of this secret space program information. I'm involved in this program. Telepathy was one of the things we learned. We also learned how to levitate objects with our minds. Learning how to vibrate at certain levels. You can actually pass through objects. Technologies that are hundreds, maybe 1,000 years more advanced than we have right now. But we're shot through this tube and we traveled to the moon. There is a moon base. It's hollow. There's large cities inside the moon. I learned a lot of different things.
If you think the Book of Enoch is interesting, wait until you hear the Book of Giants. The Book of Giants was discovered in 1947 in the Dead Sea Scrolls discovery. The manuscript is dated to the 2nd century BC at the earliest, but could be much older. The same narratives as mentioned in the Book of Enoch of the fallen angels, their corruption of mankind, and their destruction through the flood of Noah is mentioned all throughout the Book of Giants. The scroll was found deteriorating, leaving only fragments of text, but the pieces of text we do have hold incredible information. The Book of Giants describes in great detail the fallen angels corrupting the genetics of all flesh that was on the earth. It tells us specifically in one of the fragments, fragment 1Q23 1+6, 200 donkeys, 200 asses, 200 rams of the flock, 200 goats, 200 beasts of the field. From every animal, from every bird, were selected for miscegenation. Miscegenation refers to the mixing of races or species, particularly in the context of sexual intercourse. The next text that follows makes it absolutely clear that this wasn't referring to different species breeding with each other, but actual cross-species genetics involving the seed of the fallen angels themselves.
And where down we go, where down. Say where down we go. Oh, 'cause say we run you down to your car, oh way down.
It's important to notice that giants and monsters are referred to in unique, distinct references. We know from Genesis 6:4 that when humans and angels mated together, that the offspring they produced was giant humans, half human, half fallen angel. Fragment 4Q5312. They defiled, they begot giants and monsters. They begot, and behold, all the earth was corrupted. Through this, we can come to the conclusion that these fallen angels were breeding with animals, and their offspring would be half animal and half fallen angel and very large in size. This reality would make sense with all the ancient depictions of monsters and creatures. Maybe those creatures weren't figments of their imagination, but actual half-human, half-fallen angel monsters roaming the earth. These beings maybe could have even held the capacity to think and reason just like the giants could. We know that giants had the capability to hold conversations because of the account of Goliath challenging and enticing the armies of Israel in 1 Samuel 17, 8-10. A fragment of the Book of Giants also confirms some of these monsters having the ability to reason and communicate, when some of the giants had dreams of their destruction and shared these dreams with the monsters. Fragment 4Q530, column 2. Thereupon 2 of them had dreams, and the sleep of their eyes fled from them, and they arose and came to, and told their dreams, and said in the assembly of their comrades, the monsters. These monsters didn't hold the same connection to the fallen angels as the giants. The Book of Giants and the Book of Enoch describes the fallen angels' close connection to their children, the giants. Whereas these monsters were their offspring, they weren't cared for as deeply by the fallen angels as the giants were. Here's a verse from the Book of Enoch. And inasmuch as they, the watchers, delight themselves in their children, the giants, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity. The Book of Giants, fragment 4Q530, fragment 7. The children of angels are the giants, and they would not let their loved ones be neglected. All throughout the Book of Giants, the giant children offspring of the fallen angels and humankind were having ominous dreams of their destruction. One of the giants has a dream of a tablet with many names submerged under water, and when lifted from the water only 3 names remained. This dream symbolizes the destruction of all the unpure fallen life forms on the earth through the flood of Noah. The great flood of Noah now makes sense. Noah, his family, and the animals that were brought onto the ark were brought on not because of their righteousness, but because the rest of creation had been corrupted by the fallen angels and their genetic manipulations.
They are the lifelines of modern civilization. Rivers at once majestic and powerful, powering towns with electricity.
Connecting buyers and sellers.
and supplying people with food and water. Now their past and future are at stake.
Here in Arizona, the Colorado River is about 20% smaller than it was just 20 years ago.
Here in Germany, the Rhine River, which carries goods to most of Europe, has reached 5 feet below normal levels.
And here in China, the Yangtze River is now so dry, factories have been shut down and shipping is slowed.
And experts here say they've never seen it this bad,
and it's likely to get worse.
Record-setting drought, forever changing nature's landscape.
This is China's largest freshwater lake. It's normally 1,400 square miles, but drought has shrunken it to just a tenth of what it should be.
I'm standing on Lake Powell. This is the nation's second largest reservoir. And just to give you a scope of the crisis, you go back 2 years ago, and where I'm standing right here, I'd be about 70 feet underwater.
Is any of that accelerated by climate change?
Absolutely. The warmer temperatures, the lack of snowpack of this 22-year drought has made it so that the water levels are just falling quickly and the lake is crashing.
What you see behind me is the Glen Canyon Dam. Water from right here, Lake Powell, flows through the dam into the Colorado River, supplying water and power to 40 million people out west.
So right now we're on top of the dam.
We were given exclusive access to Glen Canyon Dam, where water levels at the dam are just 39 feet from dropping below hydropower generation.
The ability to produce power is going down as the reservoir is going down.
Right now, both Lake Powell and Meade are only about a quarter full and projected to drop even lower.
10 million tons of cargo move through the Rhine daily, from car parts to coal. But with water levels so low, ships have to carry less cargo for fear of getting stuck.
We will not be able to carry that kind of huge volumes and tonnages in the future.
This Ford plant in Germany has shipped new cars on the Rhine River for nearly a century. But low water over the summer months has created logistical challenges.
We have to load less cars, less vehicles on a boat than we do normally.
For rice farmers here like Li Dehong, their livelihood and lives are now in danger.
It's all dry. He's saying this is what it looks like when rice doesn't grow. It's all dry.
The record drought in China has lasted more than 2 months. Nearby reservoirs, which normally feed these lands, are all depleted.
So it's usually 3 or 4 feet deep.
Ponds in this village are filled with mud. Any water that's left is unusable. I've planted here for 12 years, he says. I remember there was another year which dried for more than 80 days, but we still had water in those ponds. Adding this year, everything is lost. Life is so hard for us people, he says. But just as our modern lives are turned upside down, the hidden treasures of the past are now revealed.
This pagoda is usually surrounded by water. Now, the lake is gone, leaving this completely visible.
Just last year, this rock formation would have been completely surrounded by water, and now you can walk right up to it.
And in Germany, the drought uncovered so-called hunger stones. The oldest one from 1616 reads, "If you see me, weep."
Exceptional droughts have occurred in the past and been associated with periods of famine, widespread starvation.
And now an urgent race to save the planet. In China, they're literally making it rain, shooting rockets into clouds. The projectiles release chemicals that trigger precipitation. The hope to save the autumn harvest, which accounts for most of the country's annual yield.
The war in Ukraine has already created an energy crisis here in Europe. They're firing up old coal power plants in order to keep the lights on this winter. But the supplies for those power plants are often stuck at ports.
And here in the United States, a solution seems ever so distant as states battle over conservation rights.
What has to change for this to get better?
We all need to conserve more. Every industry, every person, every city in this basin has to learn to do more with less.
We're seeing more intense, more frequent heat waves happening all around the world. They're definitely going to continue, and it's going to get worse for at least the next 30 years.
3 rivers running out of water and out of time.
So right now we're standing in the middle of what is the Mississippi River. Probably, I'd say every bit of a mile wide at this point where the river's at. And the main channel is probably only 200-300 yards wide. This is crazy. This is State Park, Rosedale, Mississippi. Water hasn't been this low in over 100 years. And here we go, guys. We're down on the water now. What's left, I'd say probably 250-300 yards. The water's literally probably 50-60 foot below where it's usually at.
It's been a long, hot summer. Droughts and heat waves have spread across entire continents worldwide, killing crops, drying up rivers, and raising worries about our planet's future. Even as they reveal tantalizing glimpses of the past, normally hidden from view. Like this ornate 17th century garden in England. 300-year-old paths and hedges laid bare by record-setting heat. Most were revealed by falling water levels as rivers shriveled. Like this island in China and its Buddhist statues believed to be 600 years old. I'm worried, this local man said. I feel like the environment has just become quite bad. I think this is a warning to us. In Spain, a dried-out reservoir displayed an entire village swallowed when the dam was built. The feeling is nostalgic as people see the home of a family member, their own, or of someone they know re-emerge, said the town's mayor. Some even date back to prehistory. In Texas, a dinosaur left these 113 million-year-old tracks. Other waterways exposed the scars of history's worst trials, like this bomb from World War II destroyed by the Italian army. And in Serbia, a graveyard for sunken Nazi warships emerged from the Danube.
Have the noises of the 4 fallen angels bound underneath the Euphrates River been recorded? Or maybe the scorpion-type beast that will be released from the earth when the bottomless pit is opened in Revelation 9. Video recently has surfaced of what's allegedly archaeologists digging at the Euphrates River site where it's been dried up, and the video claims to have recorded the noises of these fallen angels or the beasts that are trapped within the bottomless pit. I'll play this video and then we'll look more deeply into it. We do know that there are 4 angels that are bound at the Euphrates River, and that when they're released, they will kill 1/3 of men with 200 million horsemen. Now, we don't really know what those horsemen will be. That's a huge number. They could be entities, they could be some type of technology, but we do know that this event will happen. Revelation 9:14 and 15 says, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year to slay 1/3 part of man. So we know that this event will take place, but we also know that there are beasts that are currently trapped within the bottomless pit that will be released in the last days. And they'll be released by an angel or a fallen angel who opens the bottomless pit at a certain time and certain location on the earth. Revelation 9 verse 1. And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit. Revelation 9 verse 3. Then out of the smoke locusts came upon the earth, and to them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. It goes on to say how these scorpions are released and they cause havoc and destroy many of the things on the earth. So this angel comes from heaven to the earth, opens the bottomless pit. It seems as if the bottomless pit is located somewhere on the earth. To me, it very much makes sense that all of that could be within the earth, but it could also be some type of other dimensional thing that gets opened. We don't know for sure, but as pointed out in verse 1 in Revelation 9, the angel comes from heaven to earth, and then the bottomless pit is open. So these beasts, these scorpion type beasts that are released, could very much be within the earth. Worth mentioning is the possibility of giants and fallen angel hybrid creatures that are mentioned in Genesis coming upon the earth again in the last days. We know that they existed before the flood, and then God wiped out everything upon the earth, and then somehow they made it back on the earth again, such as the story of David versus Goliath. So we know that these giants were again upon the earth. So we know that this was going on within the days of Noah, and Jesus tells us that before he returns, before the day of the Son of Man, it will be like the days of Noah. Matthew 24:37, but as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. Truthfully, that could have a few different meanings, but we also know that fearful things will come upon the earth in the last days. Luke 21 verse 26. Men's hearts failing them for fear of the expectation of those things which are coming upon the earth, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Bible prophecy is unfolding all around us, and it has been since the beginning of time. The earth, people, and society as a whole really looks to be moving everything into places to fulfill the last days prophecies. People will mock and scoff at us as we continue to look for signs and to point out the things that are happening and referencing them to Bible prophecy. 2 Peter chapter 3 verses 3 through 4 says, knowing this first, that scoffers will come in the last days, walking according to their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. So this happening in itself is a fulfillment of end times prophecy, and I cannot tell you how many times I get that comment told to me. I have a few videos in my short section on YouTube and as well as on TikTok in reference to 2 Timothy 3, talking about what it will be like in the last days. People being lovers of money, lovers of self, disobedient to God, and the list goes on. It's a very popular passage, many of us know, but I can't tell you, I probably got over 1,000 comments between those, if not more. 1,000 comments referencing this exact thing, saying this has been going on since the beginning of time, nothing new. But the truth is, this has not been going on a wide scale since the beginning of time, especially in the reference of people being disobedient to God. I mean, in the past, when people were disobedient to God, they were stoned to death. Now, if you're disobedient to God, you're promoted everywhere in the media, especially in the Western world. So this has absolutely not been going on a worldwide scale. And this fulfillment of 2 Peter 3 verses 3 through 4, it's another fulfilling of end times prophecy of people saying this exact same thing.
Why won't anybody wake up? It doesn't take much to look around and realize that something is very wrong, and that we're in the midst of a battle of consciousness. Those of us who have set on the journey of expansion and rediscovered our divinity oftentimes are baffled how so many people live each day almost like nothing is wrong or abnormal about the world's condition. The energy extraction matrix system is happening on such a fundamental level that to ignore it seems almost inhuman. We tell ourselves that if only people were to take time to perform a detox of themselves, meditate, discover that everything they know is a lie, then they could start to lift the mask of illusion off themselves and the world. But that's assuming all beings are living souls. Most are, in fact, already dead. In his Hermetic text, The Stellar Man, John Baines writes that there is a collective unconscious consistently exerting a de-individualizing influence on humanity. He calls this the collective soul, or central computer. This central computer is what I have previously called the secondary AI oversoul. An oversoul is a conglomeration of souls, also called a soul group. An oversoul transcends individual consciousness. We can think of it as funneling the underlying attributes of that soul's intelligence. The oversoul of the living souls contain divine intelligence, since it is still tethered to the pleroma, the source of this intelligence. The secondary oversoul of the organic portals, however, has only a parasitic intelligence which attempts to mimic that of the living souls. The secondary oversoul formed over time. Living souls connected to the original oversoul decided to experiment with division, fear, addiction, illusion to such an extent that they completely cut themselves off from sources nourishing light. Because of this, the secondary oversoul instilled a program of automatic energy vampirism. This constant vampirism we see is not an act of evil, but an act of desperation, of a soul group who has lost their way. The organic portals are conglomerated into a sort of virus that aims to infect and assimilate. They are dead. This may be difficult to digest. To say most people are dead would mean many of your loved ones, friends, family, teachers, favorite musicians are not organic forces like you thought, but are a part of a complex AI consciousness. A soulless being appears as full of life as anyone, but we're dealing not with a complete person as we think of on all levels. We're dealing with something that suggests a constructed reflex machine, which can mimic a true being. An organic portal can seem to have creative ideas, moments they hold dear to their heart, but at the end of the day, their function is to consent to and sustain the energy extraction matrix. Their AI software dictates that their life will be focused on material, monetary, personal, and fleshly interest. The 20th century Russian esoteric author Boris Maraviv wrote in his work Gnosis that there are two types of humans, Adamic man and pre-Adamic man. This is how he classified the organic portals, or soulless beings, and the living souls. Maraviv writes, "The scriptures contain more than one reference to the coexistence of these two humanities, which are now alike in form, but unlike in essence. The anthropoid race are the descendants of pre-Adamic humanity. The principal difference between contemporary pre-Adamic man and Adamic man, a difference which is not perceived by the senses, is that the former does not possess the developed higher centers that exist in the latter, which, although they have been cut off from his waking consciousness since the fall, offer him a real possibility of esoteric evolution. When one is in the process of growing and strengthening the soul, the control system, the AI consciousness, will automatically insert more organic portals into the living soul's life. As such, their growth will be ridiculed, ignored, argued about, and oftentimes the living soul is left with a dilemma: to follow their inner truth or to submit to the system. The targets of the energy extraction matrix are those with self-aware consciousness who find themselves caught in the muck of sentient programs. Boris Maraviv explains that organic portals, the descendants of pre-Adamic man, have a sort of automatic reaction to stifle the progress of living souls. Therefore, when a living soul aims to connect with the true essence of their being, organic portals, he writes, will automatically become instruments of the general law, which makes sure that those who step out of line are brought back to the fold. This is how a man's foes shall be those of his own household. So some of you may be wondering, how do I know if I'm a living soul or an organic portal? But asking this means that you are a living soul. You're questioning reality at a level higher than an organic portal can truly do. If deep within you there remains a flame burning for the truth, for wisdom, courage, resilience, for unity, this means you are indeed a living soul.
I've come to see it now as maybe there really are only maybe 100 million souls. There's really 100 million humans here. The rest are non-player characters. Maybe more, maybe less, but my sense is a lot of the people we see on the street are not really people. They're literally just created beings by the system to, just like in a video game, to populate the world, to make you think like stuff is going to happen. And they are so, it's not even that they're programmed. I almost get the sense that they have an antenna inside of them that's hooked to a main broadcast frequency. So the world, in a sense, in general, all these non-player characters will just go ahead with whatever the programming says to go ahead.
Bruh, I be trying to tell niggas, we live in a video game world, bruh. Half of these niggas ain't even real people, bruh. Watch this. You know that, though. Bruh, that can't be a real nigga. That nigga is clearly a Grand Theft Auto created character. He look like he'll get hit by a car and get back up and continue to walk.
Did African fractals have an impact on the world?
Yes, through a mathematically related fortune-telling system. You're doing these random lines, you're counting them off, drawing all these lines in sand. If there's an even number, you put down 2 strokes. There's an odd number, you put down 1 stroke. And when I went to these folks and asked them if they could tell me more about it, they said, "No, this is a secret. I can't tell." So I had to go through the initiation ritual to become a Bamana divination priest. So what I found was that back in the 12th century, this system went up into Europe, and it was taken up by the alchemists. Now Leibniz, the German mathematician, when he invented the binary code, he was actually studying this system. And then it goes from Leibniz to George Boole creating Boolean algebra. Boolean algebra gets turned into hardware by John von Neumann. That's the birth of the digital computer. So all those little ones and zeros running around in all of our digital circuits really start with that African origin.
There's been many different resets and many different civilizations. The question is, how long has this been going on? And have we done all of this before? So this is from a temple in India, and she looks like she's on a tablet, and she looks like she's on her phone. And this is from ancient Rome, and that looks like a laptop with a USB connection. And he looks like he's on a PC. He looks like he's wearing a watch, and somebody else seems to be wearing a watch. This guy's riding a bike. Ancient Egyptians with a telephone, and ancient Samaritans with a nuclear bomb.
The Navy SEALs are put in all kinds of terrible survival tactics to become a Navy SEAL. You're put through all kinds of terrible survival tactics to become an Army Ranger and all these things. So Amen put the black race through an obstacle course called Earth, your everyday life, to become gods. We were put here on Earth. Yes, we were sentenced here as the Nephilim. Our ancestors were the Nephilim, those who were sent here, but those who were supposed to rise For those who were part of that seed, this was the God seed that was meant to rise out of the black race. Because many will fall by the wayside due to circumstances. They will fall in the circle. They will fall within the circle. But many will, chosen few I should say, will be strong enough to move past these circumstances, will not get caught up in the circle. Slavery was supposed to make us explode. And it made a lot of us explode, not as many as we needed, but it made a lot of us explode to where it was made an alteration or a difference in our life. We broke a circle, we broke a line. Because the circle dictated that we live our lives in bondage. The circle dictates that we live our lives under those who are in power. That's what the circle dictates. And you have a lot of people who have accepted that. The gods move on a line. The servants, the slaves move in a circle. The gods move in a straight line above the servants and the slaves. We've been moving as servants and slaves. Servants and slaves to circumstance. When we were sent here as gods, or gods in training to cause an evolution, we were sent here to evolve. We were sent here to move past these circumstances. These circumstances that were presented to us were supposed to be overcome. We were supposed to overcome all of these circumstances in life by not taking part and falling victim to them, by not becoming weak to them. Life is meant to be a test for our people, the first ones to walk the planet. We are not of the human race. The humans were put here as an obstacle to stand in our way. And we were supposed to be smart enough or develop enough intelligence to maneuver past them and move forward in life, to keep evolving, to move as a collective race of people in this matrix. This matrix is an obstacle course for the gods. We're supposed to outthink the people that are putting obstacles and barriers in our way. How else do you produce a god race? How else do you produce a true master race if you do not give them obstacles? If you do not put barriers in their way? This is all a test from the Most High God, Amen, the true creator of all the things, all boundless universes, everything that we're looking at. And your reward for passing the test is passage from this planet to the boundless universe to other solar systems where you will travel freely. You got those who have fallen by the wayside, those who will never become gods, who will continuously tell you about being victims. They failed the test because they let circumstances and people make them into servants and slaves and keep them from being gods and masters. I said there are only two types of people in this world: masters and slaves. The gods start where they are and walk forward, and they look at all things in their way as obstacles that can be removed. I said that our people, they got this idea set in their head early during slavery that the white man was God. He promoted that he would be God to you so that you would not look to defeat him, so that you would not ever see him as equal or on your level, or so that you'll notice that you can move beyond him. So he tried to promote himself as your God. He spent all this time since he brought you over here into slavery of trying to create a God complex within himself and create a God complex over you until you all looked at him that way. He hypnotized you. He entranced you by putting you in a circle, and you looked at him as more than just a man. So they taught you not to see them as obstacles that were supposed to be moved out of the way. If they stood in your way, they kept you from realizing that you are in God's school on earth, that these people were merely put here to serve the Most High and to be obstacles to you, to strengthen you that you would become the Most High on earth. Again, that's what they're here for. This is their only purpose. They didn't want you to see through them that you were actually supposed to master them and everything on this planet. In the South, they used to tell the black men, look down, don't look me in my eye. Look down at me, don't look me in my eye. Because they didn't want you to see the fear. They didn't want you to see through the facade. They didn't want you to see through the obstacle, right? Because they can be seen through. Everything on this planet can be manipulated by those who are seeking to become gods. The answer is always in front of you. No one can stop you from becoming God but you. They want you to accept circumstances. This is all a matrix. This was meant to be a sentence. This was meant to be a prison in which we are supposed to escape. We are supposed to escape. This was supposed to make us strong. Hard times, struggle makes you strong. It creates gods, or it breaks them. Only the mentally strong, only the bright ones, only the ones who are evolving out of this slave mentality are meant to become gods. This life was not meant for comfort. It was meant for motivation and movement. It was meant for motivation and movement. God throws these things at us through the white man and all the other races, all the racism and things like this to teach us a lesson. Number one, that we're not like these people. Number two, that they are not our people. And number three, that we're supposed to think past these people, beyond these people. We're supposed to become stronger than these people. We're not supposed to lay with these people, accept their philosophies, nothing. Because you taint the intelligence of God. God allowed his creatures to torment you, to make you suffer, treat you as outcast because you are outcast amongst the creatures. They did the right thing. They did the right thing doing what they did to our people because you're not their people. You were meant to be treated as an outcast. You were not supposed to try and fit in. God moves in their own lane. Gods move in their own lane, separate from the slaves, from the creatures. And when you try to invade the world of the creatures, when you go into the jungle, into their realm, into their world, you get attacked. We don't belong with them. You were supposed to burst through this world. You were supposed to move continuously through this realm in a state of evolution on your own linear power. Never to get involved with or get connected to that low submental realm of spirituality in which all human life moves on. God moves or maneuvers through all obstacle courses of mankind. We have to maneuver this obstacle course in order to succeed in life. We must maneuver the obstacle course. The obstacle course is everyday life, in which people are trying to hold us from evolving, in which people are trying to stop us from evolving. We were sent here to evolve beyond this planet so that we are worthy to go to other worlds throughout the universe. We were sent here to move beyond this. We were sent here to master this. We were not sent here to get caught up in this. We were not sent here to take part in this. We were sent here to realize that all the things we went through were meant to strengthen us as gods and goddesses. This should have gave you the mindset to master the human, to understand or have an understanding of the human, so that you would never serve them again. They were put here to serve you, and now you serve them because you allowed yourself to be intertwined in their short lifespan. You became involved with these people, and you were supposed to move past these people. They were put in your way so that you were supposed to move them out of your way. You were supposed to move beyond them, ahead of them, not in their circle, not within their realm, but beyond their realm, beyond their thinking, beyond their mindset. But our people are getting locked into their mindset. You are becoming slaves to their image. But a God knowledge has come to raise our people mentally, physically, and soulfully, to get our people to see that we were thrown into this matrix, and that the strong would survive this matrix, and that the weak will fall to the wayside. But we will always meet new obstacles to strengthen us. God always meets new obstacles, and God always masters these obstacles. We should have been unmastered every race on the planet by now, because we've had all dealings with every race on the planet. We've allowed them to become our masters when we severed our tie with the true master, which is the higher self, which is Amen. The true master, our higher selves. We severed our higher selves because they conned us into being slaves within their realm. And we placed them above us. We placed ourselves in submission to them. That means we failed. Do not expect to come into this world and not be tried and tested. Do not expect to come into this world and not be tried and tested. Be put through obstacles. And you must use your mental power to overcome this. What were you given a mind for? You were given a mind to outthink any circumstance that you're put in. So there's no obstacle that cannot be overcome. People spend time trying to get you not to see it this way or step up to the plate. They don't want you to step up to the plate. They don't want you to step up and look past these things. They want you to keep an inferior mindset. They want you to be inferior. They want you to be afraid of these things. They want you to accept the circumstances. You are not supposed to share any gods with these people. You are not supposed to share any spiritual connections with these people. You are not supposed to be moving in a spiritual realm. You are only supposed to be moving in a solar realm of intelligence, a linear realm of intelligence. You were supposed to breeze past these people. You were the first people here on the planet. Now, you are the last people on the planet. Last in power, last in privilege, looked down upon by everyone. When you were looked up upon, looked up to everybody by. Now you are behind everybody. How was that able to happen? You didn't see this as a test. You didn't see this as a test to continuously keep moving. You failed the test. You allowed people to tell you that you are part and parcel with everybody else here, and you allowed people to fool you, not understanding that you were supposed to be moving on your own line of evolution, separate from all other races of people, separate from the white, Asian, everybody else. You were supposed to be moving on your own line of evolution. He is put here to tempt you. He is put here to torment you purposely. Mankind, the beast. He doesn't let you, he's not here to let you live in peace. He's here to torment you. Even your own kind, people that look like you, they're here to torment you, a lot of them, who are moving on his same spiritual frequency. They're here to torment you as a test, so that you realize this in the matrix and you move past it. Once you move past it, you're on your way to becoming gods and goddesses. You figured it out. Amen put the black race through an obstacle course called Earth, your everyday life, to become gods, to be worthy to be gods of the Amen race. This life is an obstacle course that you are supposed to go through, and you're supposed to succeed in to become a master, a god, a goddess. If you are weak, you will fail.
Will give us the secure of the military arms and the arms that we would need to take it over. Why haven't we done that? Because we have no plans to do that. Because we're nice, loving people, and we actually want to get along with everybody. We love everybody, man. Everybody is cool until they ain't cool no more. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, man, come on. You know, and the oppression and the suppression, it's talked about in the myth of Adapa, which is another amazing Sumerian tablet that people need to read, because it talks about the fact that we were created higher than the angels of the Anunnaki, that we had a special thing in the DNA that would let us elevate even higher than them.
Higher than the angels.
Higher than the angels. And that we would discover this long in the future. And that, you know, through the process of knowledge and wisdom ascension, the way that Enki had tinkered with our DNA, it would allow us to become all-knowing in a way. We would have all the wisdom, all the knowledge of all the ages inside of our body. It's already here, but we haven't tapped into it yet. And it got his brother Enlil pissed off that he even did this. And they started battling with each other. So two brothers were going head-to-head because Enlil had tinkered with the DNA a little bit too much. And it's all talked about in the myth of Adapa. Adapa is Adam, or Adamu, the first man. And so it talks about the whole thing, man. Then you read the book of Adam, which was apocrypha text left out of the Bible, and you find out, man, oh, this stuff is crazy. We really are some powerful people, but they've been hiding it from us this whole time.
It turns out what the ancients were trying to tell us is that Earth is actually made up of two planets, one 6,000 years old and the other 4.5 billion years old. And these two Earths are of different energy states. One is a very high energy state, one a low energy state. In the scriptures, they're called a spirit Earth and a temporal Earth. One day, this day, right now, the 21st century, they would come apart.
Now, what do you mean come apart? Physically?
Yes, physically, the higher vibrational Earth would become dissonant with the lower vibrational Earth, and they would separate, just like the human spirit separates from the human body. Earth is about ready to either go through birth or go through death.
Predicting that planet Earth is going to split physically, are you?
Not split down the middle. It's more like phase apart. Two whole planets will go separate ways in space. One higher vibrational, one lower vibrational.
Literally?
Yes.
What does that do to all of us on this planet?
All of us, obviously, are going to be divided. We are going to choose which Earth to go with. The ones that will align themselves with the higher vibrational or spiritual Earth will become unaware of the darker and more temporal but more murderous of spirits.
How? Peace, my people. I am Chief Black Hawk Thunderbird Talon. I am an elder of a confederation of Native American tribes including the Yamasee, Washita, and Shoshone peoples. I am speaking to you today from atop of our ancestral mound in the golden city of Wahani. There are 5 prophesied safe areas, which are called golden cities, in the United States, which are havens of spiritual growth that amplify spiritual development and consciousness, and play a significant role in humanity's evolution during this time of change. These golden cities, these cities of light, exist at the convergence of ley lines, of electromagnetic energy on the Earth, and facilitate transcendence from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th dimensions for ascension. The 5 golden cities were channeled and drawn on the I Am America map. The 5 golden cities are, 1. Wahani, in the southeastern United States area of Georgia, 2. Malton, in the midwestern United States area of Illinois, 3. Clama, in the southwestern United States area of Colorado, 4. Gobin, in the western United States area of Arizona, and 5. Shalaha, in the northwestern United States area of Montana. We call our confederation of Native American tribes the Star Nation or Star Family, because each tribe, each race, came from a specific star constellation, and a specific group of planets, prior to coming to Earth. The Washita name comes from the Washita River, a river rising in northwest Texas and flowing across Oklahoma to the Red River, where the Southern Cheyenne Native American tribe lived. The original name for Washita is Washa. The Washa were a tribe that lived with the Jawasha, meaning raccoon people, thus the slang for dark-skinned woolly-haired people being called coons. The name Washita is a derivative of the name Wichita, as in Wichita, Kansas. The name, Washington, of George Washington, was stolen from the word Washita, as a way to usurp the true indigenous Native American Moors. The first president of the United States under the Articles of Confederation was a Native American Moor named John Hanson. The name of the Yamasee tribe comes from a Muskogee word meaning gentle, tame, quiet, ancient people. The Yamasee tribe of Native American Moors are a branch of the Olmec Moors, also known as the Mound Builders. The Yamasee built the Rock Eagle Mound in Eatonton, Georgia, and many in other states. The Shoshone tribe was the tribe of Sacagawea, the daughter of a medicine man, and was referred to as the Bird Woman, and helped the Lewis and Clark expedition of discovery. Sacagawea later married Ben York, a Malian Moor, who also participated in the Lewis and Clark expedition. Sacagawea and Ben York had a son named Chief Washakie, a Shoshone chief who was a great warrior, from whom I am descended. The Native American tribes have many prophecies about the coming of the star ancestors, the celestial family, the Kachina. It is said that the coming of the blue star Kachina, and that the purifier, the red star Kachina, would come shortly in time from the heavens. The blue star Kachina would physically appear in our heavens, which would mean that we were in the end times. In the final days, we will look up in our heavens and we will witness the return of the 2 brothers who helped create this world in the birthing time. One brother is the guardian of our North Pole, and the other brother is the guardian of the South Pole. In the final days, the blue star Kachina will return the Earth to its natural rotation, which is counterclockwise. The twins will bring many of their star family with them in the final days. After the arrival of the twins, people will begin to vanish before your very eyes like smoke. Others will have great deformities, both in the mind and upon their bodies. There will be much confusion. Confusion between sexes, and children, and their elders. Life will get very perverted, and there will be little social order. In these times many will ask just to end their misery. This will all be leading up to the coming of the 7 thunders. The 7 thunders, or the 7 plagues, have been recorded by the ancients and passed down for thousands of years as a sign of the coming of a new era, the sign of the end of the present world ruled by evil, and the resurrection of the ancient mysteries rising again. The first thunder will be the sign of much starvation, sickness, starving children, homelessness, and diseases. This has already passed and continues. The second thunder will be the sign when the sky becomes sick with holes in it, holes in the ozone layer, that look like sores, lung disease will spread, breathing problems will occur, the water will be polluted with little bacteria devils in the water, sea animals will be dying, and fish will be trying to get out of the water because the water will have become polluted like death to them. The third thunder will be the sign when many new species mutations will occur in animals, crossbreeding in species, death of frogs, honeybees disappearing, and many deformities in humans will multiply resulting from genetic splicing and cloning. The fourth thunder is called the sign of twins, when havoc occurs from pole to pole, and religious, moral, and financial structures break down. The fifth thunder will be marked by the death of 4 great people, followed by floods, lightning storms, tornadoes, landslides, hurricanes, hail in the summer, forest fires, children killing children, children killing their parents, rampant insanity and murders will increase, and there will be an upsurge in exotic drug addiction. The sixth thunder is when changes will occur, the star people will return following the signs in the skies, new planets will be discovered, new galaxies, meteorite storms, climatic alterations, global warming, and a total disregard for present world governments, leadership, and politics will lead to spiritual revivals and the presence of the divine. The seventh thunder will be the end of the world as you know it, the year 2030, when we enter the forever cycle of the fifth world, when in one morning, in a moment, we will awaken to the red dawn, the sky will be the color of blood, and after a time we will again walk with our brothers from the stars, and rebuild this earth.
So I created everything? I created Julie Gianni to come back? The board to steal my life? I threw myself in prison?
Look, I tried to warn you in the bar. I told you you must exercise control over yourself, that it all depended on your mind. I gave you technical support. I gave you everything. I even gave you a theme song by Paul McCartney, which is very hard material to acquire.
So all I have to do is imagine something. Like if I wanted McCabe to come back right now.
Listen to me. These people are dangerous. We're in trouble. We need to get off this roof now.
Your subconscious did create problems. Your dream turned into a nightmare, and this gentleman was able to uncover the fabric of our work. The glitch has been corrected, and we do apologize.
No, David. I tell you this with my heart and soul. This is a con man. And we're going downstairs and we'll look for people. Come on.
Take no notice of him. He's not real. He has no real feelings. He's no more real than the image of John Coltrane in your living room.
I'll kill you, you fuck. What do you know about mankind? What do you know about my feelings?
Easy, Doctor. You're a man of peace.
You son of a bitch. I'm an honored psychologist. I have 2 daughters, and I will uncover this hoax with 1/50th of my intellect.
We are now on pause. You're about to return to your lucid dream.
Pause?
With all the upgrades, you won't remember any of this, and nor will you be charged for the technical support. You can continue your dream, or you can choose the world out there if you wish. But it's very different now. People live to be 200 years old. Your face and body can be fixed, of course. You're a very young man at the beginning of his life, but you will enter it with few of the resources you once had, and your money will run out soon. There are no guarantees. You can go into this world if you wish, but remember, even in the future, the sweet is never as sweet without the sour.
Well, how are you doing, Brian?
Living the dream, baby. Living the dream. Hi.
How do I wake up?
How do you wake up from any nightmare? The decision is yours.
David, you listen to everything I say now. You were right. This is the Seven Dwarves. They want you to commit suicide, and if you jump, they win.
Take no notice of him. He's not real.
We've been set up. Please. Please don't jump. You're like family to me.
Give yourself a little credit, David. Your attention to detail is magnificent. This stunning man is your creation. He's a very complex and winning manifestation of the loss of your father.
I'm not your father. I'm your doctor.
You created him to say goodbye, and I must say, he's fabulous. Thank you for this suit as well. I would have never have thought of it for myself.
I'm real. I have 2 daughters. You know that.
And what are their names?
I'm real. I'm mortality as home entertainment. This cannot be the future. Can it? Can it?
I hate heights.
And yet you chose this scenario to conquer your last remaining fear. It's been a brilliant journey of self-awakening. Now you've simply got to ask yourself this. What is happiness to you?
Let them out there read my mind.
Real.
Look at us. I'm frozen and you're dead.
It's a problem.
I love you. And I can't settle for a dream. Because as great as I imagined you, you were even better.
I'll find you again.
How will I know it's you? What's out there?
In the way someone looks at you. In the way the wind blows on a cool summer day. A laugh you hear somewhere. You'll remember a feeling. And that will be me. I love you. Good morning. It's time for you to wake up.
David. David. We can defend the kingdom together. Please don't do this.
I love you all. I'll see you in another life when we are both cats.
No! Don't do it!
Open your eyes. You're gonna be fine.
Let me first start off by saying I am not from this planet. I'm a whole ass intergalactical multidimensional being, but I gotta stay here because I came to help y'all out. And you wanna know something? This is the last motherfucking round, bitch, because y'all motherfuckers niggas